Hey everyone, thanks so much for joining yoga class today. I'm really excited to share a class with you that's all about getting some relief for the low back. So this class is Low Back Love Yoga. Today's class is going to be a little bit different because I'm using a prop. I'm using a bench. The bench is going to help serve us in both standing and seated postures. We're going to have fun with this class. Take it at your pace. Pause the video anytime you need to if you want to take a longer hold in one of the options, or continue to progress at the speed that I'm offering it. This class is intended to be therapeutic for your low back. So we'll start off in a standing position. And as we stand, you can stand wherever you'd like. I'll come on to the mat so that you can see my body without being blocked by the bench. From here, I'm just going to sit back a little bit and I'm going to take my hands to my thighs. Now, if this is uncomfortable, you can sit on the bench as you do this. This is going to be a standing cat-cow. So with your hands on your thighs, you want your arms straight. Now, as you inhale, you're going to send your chest forward. And as you exhale, you're going to bring your belly button in. Inhale, send the chest forward. Exhale, bring it in. Take a few more rounds. Now, if you're taking the standing option, you'll feel the thighs firing up. Right away at the start of your practice, you're working on strengthening. Now, if this is a little bit challenging for you, please know that you can take this movement to a chair or a bench. In this case, as you're seated, same thing, send the chest forward and then round the spine. Open the heart as you inhale and then round the spine for flexion as you exhale. So right away, we're getting mobility in our spine through extension and flexion. Standing or seated option are both appropriate. So take the one that's feeling good. And we'll take 2 more rounds. Feel the back space opening up. Standing option is going to be a little more intense. You'll have more control with the seated option. All right, now wherever you are, just bring yourself back to center. For the next posture, we're going to explore pyramid pose. I'll demonstrate with blocks and also with the bench. So if you feel capable of taking the standing option, you're going to take your blocks, both of them, underneath your hands. So 1 block underneath each hand. Go ahead and take your blocks outside of your feet or step your feet inside of the blocks. Now from here, you're going to pick up your right foot, step it back about 3 feet, and then rotate those right toes to the right edge of the mat. Both legs are straight. Take an inhale breath. And as you exhale, bend your elbows, lower your torso towards your left leg. Release the head and the neck. Feel a nice stretch at the left hamstring. If you're in the standing option, send the left hip back, right hip forward. Now, if this is a little too intense of a fold for you, you can bring your hands to your bench, step your right foot back, straighten both legs, and just fold halfway. You're still going to get a stretch at the back of the thigh, at the hamstring. So you decide which option is best serving you. The bench or the chair is going to give you a little more height. Now, whichever option you're in, we're going to slowly start to come out. So we're going to lift that back foot, step it forward. Inhale, take a half lift, and then exhale, fold. Now, whether you're folding all the way or halfway, notice the difference between the right leg and the left leg. Taking a moment of inventory. Inhale, let the head rise up. Now, as we exhale, we're going to take the left foot back now. Same distance, about 3 feet. Rotate the toes to the left edge of the mat. Whether you're standing or at the bench, inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold forward. The more you fold, the deeper you're going to feel the stretch at the right hamstring. Think about sending that right hip back, left hip forward. And remember, if you feel like you're losing stability or control in the standing option, you can always come to the option where your hands are at the bench or the chair. Less of a fold, more control, still getting that stretch. This is up to you. Take what you need. Enjoy the sensation in your body in this practice. And breathe. Whichever option that you're in, know that we're going to prepare to come out. As we inhale, we'll lift the head, straighten the arms. Exhale, back foot meets the front foot. Come right into your forward fold. Now your hands can be on the blocks, or you can take your hands to dangle towards the mat or the chair, the bench, or the prop. Now feel into the left leg. Feel into the right leg. If you'd like, you can bend both knees on an inhale. And then on the exhale, straighten both legs. Inhale, bend. Exhale, straighten. Let's take one more. Straighten the legs. And now bend the knees again so that you can slowly roll up to a standing position. Take your time. Let your head come up last to help you not become dizzy. And once you find your standing position, now we're all going to take it to a chair. So I'm demonstrating with a bench. Find whatever seated option is comfortable for you. And as you bring yourself down into this seat, look and make sure that your feet are in line with your hips. So think about when we're standing and we look down at our feet, and we want to make sure there's enough space between the 2 feet to fit one more foot of ours. So that's where we want to be with it. We're going to be focusing on the torso. So we want to feel really grounded in our seat. So look onto the seat, and you want to bring your back all the way to the back edge. You'll probably feel the front edge near the knees or right underneath. Now the hands can rest on the thighs, palms down. We're going to start to just move around in circles. So take the right ribs over to the right thigh. Bring the heart forward. Move over to the left. Take it back. So we're just drawing circles with the torso. Now your circles can be as big or as small as you'd like. Your seat is grounded. Notice as you're circling around where you're feeling tension. Could be in the side body, the back, the hips. If there's any area that needs a deeper stretch, let yourself pause there and then continue to move when you're ready. And then circle around, leading with the opposite direction. Again, pause anywhere that needs a deeper stretch. Continue to move on as you're ready. And slowly start to bring yourself back to that straight spine. Think about shoulders above the hips, ears above the shoulders. We're gonna stay seated. We're now gonna come into a deeper stretch for the hip. This is also gonna help that low back area, but you'll feel more of the intensity in the hip. So we're just gonna lift one leg. Whichever leg you lift, take your hand to assist to bring your ankle to the opposite thigh. Now, make sure that when you bring your ankle to the thigh, you're not placing bone on bone. So avoid being directly on the knee and just bring the ankle a little more towards the thigh. So this is our seated figure 4. Make sure that your thighs, the back of your thighs, are on the entire side of the chair and that your back is up against the chair. Then take your hands to the front edge of the chair or the bench. Take an inhale breath, lift the crown of the head up. And as you exhale, lean forward. Now, you just want to lean forward enough to feel sensation at the hip of the leg that you have on top. If you want to go deeper, you can continue to fold forward. We just want to feel a stretch. We don't want to push ourselves to the point of pain or major discomfort. So listen to what your body's telling you in terms of how fast it wants to fold forward, how much it wants to fold forward. If you're moving forward a little too quickly, you can back out by lifting your head. So just play around with finding that sweet spot. One more full round of breath. Maybe you take it to the fullest expression. Maybe your arms dangle down. Maybe your torso comes more towards your legs. Inhale, slowly rise up. Now you might have noticed if you're not sitting all the way back, when you fold forward deeply, it feels like you might fall. So really use the entire space of the chair or the bench to have the back of your thighs on. All right, so we're gonna come into the other side. Gently lift your foot, take it down, take a full round of breath here. Exhale, open your mouth, let it go. Great, now lift opposite leg. Use your hand to assist if you need to bring that ankle to the thigh. So remember, we don't want bone on bone. Bring the ankle just above the knee, more towards the thigh. Now we're gonna stretch the opposite hip. It's very common for us to have one hip tighter than the other. So just let it be what it is. If this side is tighter or looser, that's okay. It's very common to be asymmetrical in our bodies. Now, when you're ready to start to come into it, bring your hands to the front edge of the chair or the bench. Inhale, lift the crown of your head up towards the ceiling. And then exhale, lead with your heart, fold forward. Allow yourself to fold slowly. Take your time to ease into this big hip stretch. Breathe through it once you find the intensity of the stretch that you want or need. If you feel like you're ready to go deeper with the stretch, continue to lean forward. If you feel out of balance or like you're gonna fall forward, you can always back out. Breathe, breathe, breathe. If you're noticing that your body wants to go more forward, maybe you let the arms dangle. Continue to check in with yourself. Your body will let you know what it needs, how far it wants to go. Keep yourself stable. Lengthen the breath. Last round of breath. Inhale, slowly lift the head. Slowly find your way back to a straight spine, axial extension, crown of the head reaching up. We're gently going to release this ankle, take it down to the ground. Take a full round of breath here. Exhale, open the mouth, let it go. Great. Now we're going to take a seated spinal twist, feeling ourselves comfortably seated. This is a very different sensation than when we're sitting on the mat. When we're sitting on the mat, we can feel compression in the knees. So we're being a little more gentle with our knees. We have a much bigger angle there. So this is more comfortable to maintain when we're doing seated yoga poses. So we'll start with our hands outside of our hips. Inhale, we'll lift the fingers up. Now, as we exhale, we're going to rotate to one side. Take the fingertips down. Inhale, reach the fingertips up, face forward. Exhale, twist and rotate opposite direction. Lower those arms. As you inhale, lift the arms up, face center. Exhale, twist opposite direction. Inhale, lift up. Each time you exhale, find the opposite direction. So as you move with your breath, know that we're taking spinal twisting to liberate the spine, to loosen up the muscles of the back, to find mobility. We'll take one more on each side. And then we'll meet at center. Gently bring the hands down. Inhale all the way to the top of the breath. Exhale, open your mouth, let it go. Now we're going to take a movement from this seat that's going to really strengthen the core. Now, strengthening the core is really important whenever we're releasing the low back, because we tend to use the back of the body much more than the front of the body. So by strengthening the front of the body, we're going to start to even out the front and the back. This is going to really help that tension that we carry in the low back space. So from our comfortable seat, in order to work on this core strengthening, we're going to alternate one knee at a time. Let your hands comfortably rest on the outsides of the chair or the bench. On your next inhale, simply lift one foot. Bring your knee as close to your chest as you can. Exhale, lower that foot down. On your next inhale, lift the opposite knee. Bring it into the chest. Exhale, lower it down. Inhale, lift opposite knee. Exhale, lower down. Continue to move. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Alternating between knees. Keep moving with your breath. Inhale is lift. Exhale is lower. We've got a couple more rounds. Inhale, squeeze the knee in. Exhale, tap the foot down. Inhale, lift, squeeze it in. Exhale, tap the foot down. One more on each side. You've got this. Keep that straight spine. And lower down. Awesome. Great job. All right. Now, from here, we're going to do a couple of options standing, just to give us a little break from seated, and then we are going to come back down to seated. So in your time, come up from the bench, come over to one side. Whether you're working with the bench or the chair, you're going to hinge at the hips, lean forward. Take your hands to the outside of the chair, and then you're going to back your feet up. Now, as you back your feet up, know that we're coming into a supported down dog. So your hands might stay on the outer edges of the chair, or you might bring your hands in front of you with your fingertips forward. This option is more comfortable for me. I'm going to step my feet back a little more. You're going to want to keep yours forward if that's more comfortable. And then you're going to lower your ears between your biceps. And as you do this, look to your feet. Make sure your feet are hip distance. If you feel discomfort in your shoulders, then come forward a little bit until you don't feel that discomfort. So your gaze should be down to the ground. Your ears should be between your biceps.
practice straightening your legs. However, if this is really intense of a stretch for the back of the legs, you can bend your knees, take a little micro bend there. And with the micro bend, that might be more comfortable. Feel into the back space. And take a couple rounds of breath here. Supported downward facing dog. This is an option you can incorporate into your practice. If there's ever an option to take down dog on the mat, know that you can always do this with your chair. And then inhale, lift your head. Slowly walk your feet towards the bench. Take your time. Once your feet get closer to the bench or the chair, release the hands, bend the knees, and just roll up to standing position. All right, now that we're standing, we're gonna work on the hamstrings. So step back and then lift one leg, whichever leg you'd like. Bring your heel onto the chair. Now your torso is facing the leg that is lifted on the chair or the bench. Your arms are by your sides. Take an inhale breath. And as you exhale, just lean forward. Feel a strong foundation in your standing leg. Think about bringing your belly and your chest towards your leg. Now your hands or your fingertips can also land onto the bench. Feel a nice stretch at the back of the thigh. If you want to go deeper, maybe your palms come onto the chair or the bench, and then release your head and your neck. Fold a little deeper. On your next inhale, slowly come out. First, lift your head. If you're on your palms, bring your fingertips to the bench. Maybe you take your hands to your hips and then find a straight standing position. Release your foot from the bench. Take it down. Give yourself a round of breath here. Exhale, open the mouth, let it go. And then lift your foot. Bring your heel onto the bench. So this is the opposite leg, second side. First, just give yourself a moment to feel confident in your standing position. If you don't like having your heel too close to the edge, you can always step your foot closer to the chair or the bench and then bring your heel further onto the prop. So then we'll let the arms come down by the sides. Feel steady in your standing foot. Take an inhale breath. And then exhale, lean forward. Hinge at the hips. Let the belly and the chest come towards the leg. And then take your hands to the chair or the bench. Lower the head when you're ready. The more you fold, the deeper you're going to feel the stretch. You decide how far you want to go. Breathe. Feel into this side. Just a couple more rounds of breath. Notice if fingertips or palms are more comfortable. If you're really flexible, you might even bring your forearms onto the bench. That's going to be pretty intense, so be careful with your body. And on your next inhale, slowly rise up. If you're on palms, bring fingertips to the bench. Then take your hands to your hips. Lift the crown of the head up. When you're ready, gently release your foot. Bring it down. Take a full round of breath here. Exhale, let it go. And then come back onto your bench. Back into some seated options. This is a really great class if you enjoy doing standing postures, but if you're having a day where you feel a little unstable, a little wonky in your balance, you can still achieve some of these standing postures like downward facing dog, which is also an inversion, and lunge. So we're gonna use the bench to show you how to do a modified lunge. So we're in a standing position. Sometimes we explore things like crescent lunge, okay? And this can work for us some days, and then other days it's not as accessible. So this is why we're doing it on the bench today, so we can figure out how to do it in a more grounding, stable way where we don't have to focus on the balance as much, but we can really get that deep stretch and work on strengthening. So my bench is a little wider than the outside of my thighs. So as I show you each side, I'm gonna scoot to the corner. You might not need to do that, but just know that the reason why I'm doing this is because this leg is gonna swing out and the knee is gonna face this way. So coming into our supported lunge, I'm gonna swing this leg out and also turn my hips as I do it. So now I'm facing the window side of the room. The leg that's off the bench, I'm gonna take it back. And I'm gonna start on my toes with my knee bent. Now, this might be a deep enough stretch for you, for your quad and your hip flexor. We really wanna stretch the psoas muscle, the hip flexor, because this muscle connects the femur bones to the low back. So when we're in a seated position, this area gets tight. When we open it up, then we can release that tension and get relief for the low back. So if you start with your knee bent, this is going to be a more gentle option. If you want a deeper stretch, you're going to hold onto the bench with your hands. You're going to scoot your toes back so that you can straighten this leg. Now, this is opening up with more intensity. Your gaze is going to be forward. So you're gazing in the same direction as your bent front knee. Hands can stay on the support of the bench, or you can challenge yourself by reaching your fingertips straight up to the ceiling. Whatever you choose, breathe. Make sure you're on the back toes and the heel is lifted. And we've got one more round of breath. As you exhale, lower your hands down, bend the knee if you straighten the leg, and then swivel onto the bench or the chair. Come back to center where we started. We're gonna do that same thing, but now we're gonna do it on the other side. So now we need to scoot our second side right to the edge. This way, when we rotate, we have the edge of the bench or the chair underneath the knee. And as we face this direction now, we take the opposite leg, the one that's not on the bench, and we start with the knee bent. So the leg is at 90 degrees, and you wanna make sure that you're on the toes, the heel is lifted. Wiggle around, get comfortable. Your front foot, sole of the foot, should be grounded. Now, this is perfectly fine to stay here, or if you wanna go deeper, take your hands to grab onto the chair and then slide the toes back so that you're straightening that leg. More intensity, deeper stretch for the quad and for the psoas. Now remember, once you have your back leg straight, heel is lifted, hands can stay down, or you can lift your fingers up and gaze forward. Pull the belly button in towards the spine. Feel the strength in the back. Feel the strength in the leg that's straight or off the bench. Feel that front foot firmly planted down into the ground, and breathe. If your breath is short, practice lengthening. With each exhale, open the mouth, let it go. And on the next exhale, you're gonna gently bring the hands down if you have them up, and then gently bend the knee that's lower to the ground. And then rotate, come back onto your seat. Take a full round of breath here. Inhale all the way to the top of the breath. Exhale, open your mouth, let it go. All right, we're gonna take a seated forward fold. In the seated forward fold, we're gonna stretch the entire back space. We'll get flexion for the spine, so we're decompressing the spine. Now, you can stay forward in your chair. I'm just gonna rotate and face the opposite direction so that you can see the shape of my body.
So first of all, make sure the back of your knees is at the very edge of your chair. You want to feel your back up against the back of the chair. So as you can see, I've got the edge of the chair at the back of my knees. My feet are hip distance. I'm going to bring my hands outside of the chair. As I inhale, I'll lift the crown of my head up, lengthening the spine. And as I exhale, I'll think about bringing my belly towards my thighs. And as I bring my belly towards my thighs, I continue to fold forward. My hands are sliding down the legs of the chair or the bench. You might be able to feel your entire belly resting on your thighs, and then you're going to relax your head and your neck. Completely letting the head and the neck go. Breathe. Notice each breath. If you feel like you're going to tip forward, then you can come out a little bit. Another really great option for this one is if you have blocks, you can take your hands to the blocks in front of your feet, and you can straighten your arms. So you're still working with your back flexion, but you're not folding too deeply. If you're folding too deeply and you feel like you're going to fall forward, then the blocks are really going to assist. You're still rounding the spine. You're still stretching the back. So just notice how far you want to take it. What's your body calling for today? Feel the stability in your seat. Let the head and the neck go. Also lengthening the cervical spine. Two more rounds of breath. On your next inhale, slowly come up. Maybe the hands come to the blocks, or maybe you just lift the head and take the shoulders above the hips. Straight spine. From here, staying in our seat. Now we're going to take it to a neck and chest stretch. The bottom half of the body is going to stay very still. We're going to move our torso from side to side. So now we're still working with spinal mobility, which is going to be great for easing muscle tension in the back space. But now we're going to be working towards lateral flexion. So in this class, you're moving the spine in all directions, really liberating that space. So we'll start by lifting the arms. Take the hands behind your head. Interlace your fingers. Now, once the fingers are interlaced behind the head, you'll feel your palms at the back of your head. The elbows are lifted and out. Take an inhale breath. And as you exhale, lower one elbow down towards the ground. Feel a stretch in the opposite side of the body. Inhale, bring yourself to center, and then exhale, lower opposite elbow. Each time you inhale, bring your head to center, and each time you exhale, lower one elbow, and try to position your top elbow towards the ceiling. Inhale, find center. Exhale, lower your elbow, lift the top elbow. Inhale, center. Now, as you move from side to side, remember to keep the bottom half of your body grounded. Think about just moving from the waist up. This stretch feels excellent in the side of the body, the part of the human body that we stretch the least, really creating space between the ribs at the intercostal muscles. Nice stretch. From the hip to the arms. Enjoy one more on each side.
back to center. Gently unwind the fingers, bring the hands down, take a full round of breath. Exhale, sigh of relief. Now from here, open your feet wider. So as you open your feet wider, your toes are pointed out, your heels are in. Bring your hands to your thighs. So think about bringing the palms to the middle of the thighs. You don't want to press directly on your knees. From here, we're going to take a seated cat-cow. So you might have done this at the start of the practice if you didn't want the standing option. If you did the standing option, you can now take it seated. If you did it seated at first, the legs are a little wider. There's a little more space for the torso to move. So it's not as restricting. So inhale, open the chest. Think about the shoulders going back. And as you exhale, bring the shoulders forward, belly button to spine. Inhale, open the chest, send it forward. Exhale, shoulders forward, belly button to spine. Continue to move with the breath. And maybe you close your eyes and bring awareness to the sensation in the back space as you take this movement. Couple more rounds. And then we'll find our way to center. As we find our way to center, we'll lift the crown of the head up, bring the knees in. Take a full round of breath here. Exhale, open your mouth, let it go. Option to take a few rolls with the neck, but just half circles. So you're bringing one ear above the same side shoulder, then taking your chin towards your chest, opposite ear above that shoulder, inhaling to one direction, exhaling opposite direction. Releasing tension from the neck, the shoulders. Feel the stretch going into the upper back, maybe into the mid back. It's all connected, releasing that tension. Start to even out the sides. Find your way to center. Once you find your way to center, open the eyes if the eyes were closed. Now this is the part of the practice where we're going to transition from sitting on the bench down to our mats. However, we're going to continue to use the bench for Shavasana. So we know that Shavasana is our relaxation pose. I'm going to show you how to use the bench to really find the most comfortable option for your low back. Now, this is something that we've discussed in previous videos, something that you can do with the support of blocks or a bolster or even a foam roller, but we're going to take it much higher with the bench. So I'm going to stand up. You can watch me first. And I'm just going to scoot the bench all the way up to my mat. Then when I come onto my mat, I'll take my time to come down. If this is difficult for you to do, you can always take your hands to your bench or your chair and then let that assist you as you come down onto the mat. Now, once I lower down, I'm going to take one of my hips up to the bench and then I'll rotate to swing my legs onto the bench. So what I want is for my entire low legs to be on the bench, back of the knees right at the edge of the bench. And then I bring my entire back, shoulders, and head onto the ground. I let my arms rest down with space at the armpits. Before I settle in completely, maybe I point my feet, maybe I take my ankles in circles by drawing circles with the big toes, just getting some ankle mobility. And then opposite direction, just getting the wiggles out before grounding down, because we know that Shavasana is our time of stillness. Now relax the feet down if you are taking circles. With your arms grounded down, palms can be facing the mat as an intention of grounding, or you can rotate palms facing up as an intention of receiving. Tuck your chin towards your chest, lengthening the back of the neck, cervical spine. Know that at any point you can always grab a layer. It's nice to place a blanket on top, provides a nice nurturing sensation. Or maybe you don't need a layer. But however you find yourself positioned, let your eyes close. And as your eyes close, feel your entire spine grounded on the mat. Know that the bench or the chair option with the legs lifted is helping to let go of that natural lift at the low back. So now we feel more comfortable and at ease. With the eyes closed and the body completely grounded, we can focus on the length of our breath. With each inhale, breathing in all the way to the top of the breath, all the way until we can't take in any more air. Exhale for a slow, slow release. Inhale with intention. Exhale, release slowly. Take your time with your breath. Take this time of stillness and peacefulness. This time of connection with your physical body and your breath. If you notice at any point that you're getting distracted with your thoughts, just simply come back to your breath. Breathe and relax. Feel your body grounding down. With each exhale, let your body rest heavy. Feel the support of the ground and the props beneath you. Continue to bring your awareness to your breath. Continue to lengthen each breath. Calming your own nervous system. reducing stress and anxiety. If you're having trouble connecting with your breath, you can always take your palms to your belly. Inhale, feel the belly pressing to the hands. Exhale, feel the belly soften. Each time you inhale, the belly expands. And each time you exhale, feel the belly button moving towards the spine. Hear the sound of your own breath. Feel completely relaxed and supported. Feel empowered for showing up for your practice, for moving through the postures and serving yourself. If your hands are on your belly, bring your arms out to the sides. Feel the connection of the low legs resting on top of the chair. And then gently bring your knees towards you one at a time. Now taking your feet to the edge of the chair. Maybe you can scoot that chair away. If the chair is too heavy, simply bring the knees in and then take the knees out to one side. Lift the knees to center and then take the knees to the other side. So we're just taking the knees from left to right, right to left, feeling a massage on the low back. Take one more on each side. Open the arms out more if you need to. And the next time you even out the sides, bring the knees to one side. Roll over onto that side. Come into the fetal posture. Just taking a moment here to transition to your seat. Now, as you come on to your seat, you can take a moment to come into tabletop. Bring your knees together. Send your hips towards your heels. Bring your arms by your sides. Lower your forehead down. So I want to show you this posture in case you ever have low back issues and you don't have time to do the full sequence. Coming into this variation of child's pose is so great to release the low back area. Knees together, arms by your sides. Taking this posture for 3 to 5 minutes is really going to help to loosen up the low back space. So if you're enjoying this, you can stay here. If you're ready to come out of your practice, you can take your hands under the shoulders, gently pressing the floor away. Lift the hips to take the feet out to one side. We're coming back into a seated position, but this time we're sitting on our mat rather than on our chair or our bench. And if you rather come onto the chair or bench, you can do that as well, whatever feels good to you in your practice. So those are just some postures to help you anytime you're feeling like you need to just release any congestion in the low back. Think about folding forward. Think about opening the psoas muscles at the front of the hips.
And as always, reach out to me anytime you have any questions, anytime you feel limitations in your practice. I love to take requests. So contact me however you'd like, and I will continue to record classes that are working for you, your body, and your practice. Thank you so much for showing up today, for trusting me to guide you through this beautiful practice. And thank yourself for doing the work. Take your hands outside of your hips. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Let the palms meet. Bring the thumbs to the heart center. Tuck your chin towards your chest. Bow to yourself in gratitude. The light in me sees, honors, and recognizes the light within you. Namaste. Happy practicing. I hope you have a beautiful, amazing day, and I'll see you next time.